you know? So I'm talking to somebody who is in a dark place right now, and it doesn't look like God is going to come. It doesn't look like he hears you. It doesn't look like he sees you. Hey there, it's Baina again, and I just wanted to welcome you to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here as a part of our new family. If this is not your first time and you're coming back to see me and to get a little bit more encouragement, welcome back. Always so happy to have you. I was just thinking, right? I was driving on my way home, to be quite honest, done with my day. And as I was driving, I was listening to Donnie McClurkin, one of my favorite CDs. I'm getting old, right? Excuse me. One of my favorite songs on his CD. It's called "I'll Trust You, Lord." I'll trust you, Lord. And in the song, he says, if you call my name and don't hear me, do you still trust me? If you look for me and don't feel me near, will you still trust me? If it doesn't work out for you in the way you wanted it to, will you still trust me? And I thought about those questions, and I remember the first time I heard this song, how hard it was to answer those questions with a yes, Lord, I'll trust you. Just being honest, it was some of the darkest times in my life when we were losing our first home, and I did not have a track record of being in a position like this, being in a dark space, and then him having to rescue me. I've always been like a really big believer. And so when I believed big and put my faith on it, and, most times I got it. And if I didn't, then God changed my heart and I didn't want it anymore, But in this particular space, it was dark and I was scared. And I remember asking my good girlfriend and my Aunt Brenda, I remember asking Kimmy, I was like, why is it so hard for me to believe that he's going to rescue me, that he's going to get us out of this situation? We had to be out of our house in 8 days. At that point, it was probably 10 days. And I'm like, we still didn't have a place to go, family of 4. And I just remember thinking, is he really going to show up the way everyone says he did? He will. I wanted my own experience with him. I didn't want your experience. I didn't want a secondhand experience. But when God showed up for me, and when he rescued us out of that situation, and he showed up and he showed out, and he gave us more than we would have asked, more than we actually asked for, it restored my faith, and it gave me something to put in my pocket for the next time, because there's always going to be a next time when God has to pull you out of something. Maybe nothing as big as that, but there's still a reason for him to have to rescue you. He's God. He's your dad, So I'm talking to somebody who is in a dark place right now, and it doesn't look like God is going to come. It doesn't look like he hears you. It doesn't look like he sees you, but I promise you he does. I promise you he does. You just have to hold on, and you have to keep believing. You have to stay encouraged, and you have to trust him. You have to, sometimes I can say to you, go back to the last thing that he did for you. Go back to the last thing that he did for you, and remember what he got you out of before. Because now that I have that experience in my hand, I can always go back to that time that he got us out of there 8 days before we had to be out. He found us something beautiful, something perfect, something that only God can do. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to show off. He wants to show off. He wants to show you that he's got you. He doesn't want you to be rescued by man. He wants you to be rescued, and it's him. He'll use the man to rescue you, but he wants you to know. He wants the world to know that he did it. No one gets his glory. He does not share his glory. So if you don't have a first time, if this is your first time like it was for me, and I didn't have something that I could remember where he got us out of that situation before, so of course he's going to come back and do it again. I didn't have that experience yet. It was in the real time at that point. So if you're there and you don't have a real time moment where God has already gotten you out of it and you're in it right now, I'm asking you to trust him. Give him a chance to show up for you. Give him a chance to show out for you. Trust his word. His word says that he'll never leave you or forsake you. So he can't lie. He's not a man that he would lie. So you just have to, you're going to trust him at some point in your life, but why not now? Why not start now? It was the hardest thing to do, to drop my shoulders and surrender and believe that he was really going to get us out of that situation. And he did it in a big way because I made a decision to trust him. So now that has happened, it's not a whole lot you can do to shake my tree, to be honest, because he got us out of that. I know he'll get us out of this. So give God a chance to have a track record with you so that you can boast about him, so you can tell everybody the goodness of God, so you can share what he did for you and how dark it was and how you didn't believe. It's okay that you didn't believe as long as you believe now. But give God a chance to show off. Give him a chance to go to bat for you. Give him a chance to rescue you out of the pit where you are. And I feel like this is for somebody. It literally pulled over to do this video because there's somebody that doesn't believe he's gonna come through. And when you watch this video, and when you make the decision to trust him, and when you give it all to him, tears, snot, nose running, everything, give it to him. Let him do it. Let him do it for you. And when he does, come back and tell me about it. I would love to hear your testimony, because you will have a testimony. And guess what? God will get all the glory and you'll be glad to give it to him. So, sending you the biggest hug and hugging you in my heart for whoever this is. But know that God has you. He promises to stay with you. He promises to stay with you, and he cannot lie. His word promises to never return void. It can't. And when you have promises like that, I don't know. It didn't make it easier, to be honest. It didn't make it easier for me to trust him. I just had to trust him. I had to make a decision. So I'm asking you to make a decision today to trust God with whatever that thing is that's heavy for you. Let him have it. Drop your shoulders and surrender to the process and know that he's got your back. All right. Take care.